So yesterday we started discussing perfectional stage of Ashtanga Yoga. So how perfection in Ashtanga Yoga, person who is Yukta, it involves disciplining mental activities, being fixed in the self, devoid of all material desires, just like the lamp in a windless place does not waver. Then from 20 to 23 verses, we discuss the realizations in the platform of Samadhi or Ashtanga Yoga, especially having obtained this yan labdva chaparam labham manyate nadikam tattah yasmin sito na dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. Once one attains this platform of Samadhi, how do we understand somebody has attained Samadhi? One of the symptoms is that yam labdva chaparam labham manyate nadikam tattah. He feels iske upar aur kuch nahi hai, but he feels so much joy, especially those who are fixed in one's relationship with Krishna, that yasmin sitena dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. Even in the most painful situation, he does not get disturbed. Also, apart from that, he doesn't desire anything else. He feels, oh, this is what is the last thing. So, as long as one has hankering for some other type of happiness, that means he has not reached the platform of Samadhi. That one can understand. And then 24th to 25 verses, we discuss the methods to attain Yoga Ruda stage. So in that, so much emphasis Prabhupada gave on Utsaha, Nishchaya and Dharya. If you remember, Prabhupada quoted the story of the sparrow. And then 26th verse was very important, wherein Yato yato nischalati manas chanchalam asthiram tadastato niyametad atmaneva vasham nayet. The success formula in yoga, if you want to attain, what practice one has to keep doing? Mind will wander, bring it back. It will wander, bring it back. And 27th verse discussed about the Brahma Bhuta platform, the realizing of Atma. And 28th verse talked about Brahma Sansparsha. So Brahma Bhuta is more or less realizing oneself as the spirit soul. Brahma Sansparsha is more, Brahma is, so there both the places the word Brahma is there. First Brahma refers to living entity. So realizing I said myself as Brahma, that is Atma. Brahma Bhuta platform is on the spiritual platform. Brahma Sansparsha means touching the Supreme Brahman, that is Paramatma. So one realizes Paramatma, and further explanation is that when one realizes Paramatma, further if one meditates on Paramatma and tries to develop personal relationship with Paramatma, then he becomes on the platform of Bhagwan realization, wherein he becomes a devotee of the Lord. He ascends the one stage of yoga ladder from Ashtanga Yoga to Bhakti Yoga, like that. So now we'll go to 29th verse. So 29 and 30 verses, they describe the vision of a perfect yogi, how he sees Paramatma or Krishna everywhere. So please recite 29th verse.
Anybody is remaining? Like we had reached the end of the list yesterday also. So anybody is remaining, they can tell, or we can start from the beginning. Okay, I will begin from beginning. Anil Prabhu.
सर्वभूतास्तं आत्मानं
सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानं
सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि
सर्वभूतानि
ईक्षते योगायुक्तात्मा
ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा
ईक्षते योगायुक्त सर्वत्र समदर्शना
सर्वत्र समदर्शनः.
A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self
Okay.
purport also have to read.
No, no. So this is wonderful. This kind of thing only Lord can do, right? What is the position of Lord? He is in all beings, and every being is in Lord. As Kunti Maharani also prays in the first canto, that prayers. Namaste Purusham Tvadyam Antar Bahiravakitam, she says. Namaste Purusham Tvadyam. Whatever. The last line is Antar Bahir
ईश्वरः प्रकृते परम्
Ah,
ईश्वरः
Ishvara
प्रकृते परम्
Param Alaksham Sarvabhutanam Antar Bahir Avasthitam. He is inside everything and outside everything. How wonderful it is, isn't it? Means, suppose if we say that I am inside this room, so I cannot be outside this room. But Lord is inside also and outside also everyone. And wonderfully, the true yogi observes all beings are in Lord. And also, everything, every being is in the Lord. Also, Lord is in all. Lord is in all living beings. In how? As Paramatma. Every being is in the Lord also. How? Okay, Mahavishnu or Virat Rupa. In Virat Rupa, the Lord is everybody is present in Lord also. So in this way, this is the thing only I think Lord can do. Who else can be like that? That आप मेरे अंदर भी हो और मैं आपके अंदर भी हूँ. How is this possible? So this is how. So in this regards, if we see the wonderful darshan, Supreme Lord Krishna showed to Mother Yashoda. So Yashoda told Krishna to open his mouth after she got complaint that Krishna has eaten mud. So then Mother Yashoda told Krishna that you open your mouth. So Krishna opened his mouth. So in his mouth, Mother Yashoda saw. So now Mother Yashoda was outside Krishna, right? So she was looking in the mouth of Krishna. So she was outside Krishna. But when she saw Vishwarup, she saw all the planets, all the mountains, rivers, everything in Krishna. And in that she saw that she herself was also within Krishna, looking into the Krishna's mouth. Isn't it? So this is what wonderful vision. She was confused. I am outside Krishna, I am inside Krishna. Like that. Both ways she was. She was outside also, she was inside also. And Krishna was also outside her and inside her also. So this is how, this is the mystical opulence of the Lord. So basically we see that how here these two verses tells how the perfected yogi, he sees Krishna everywhere. So Prabhupada in the purport, he says the Lord in his Paramatma feature is situated within both heart of a dog and that of a Brahmana. So Prabhupada is basically quoting this Vidya Vinaya Sampanne verse. So, but at the same time, although Lord is present in the heart of a dog or a Brahmana or anybody else, and everything and everyone, but at the same time, Lord is always transcendental. He's never affected. It's not that Lord, when he is in the heart of Parama, as Paramatma in the heart of a dog, he gets affected by doggish mentality. And when he is in the heart of Brahmana, he is elevated to Brahmanical mentality. He is completely transcendental and completely aloof from all the material situation of any living entity. So there is no effect on the Lord. So further, Prabhupada says that Lord, being the source of all beings, is like the mother and maintainer. So just like the mother, she is neutral, Prabhupada says, to all different types of children. Some child may be very naughty, some child may be very peaceful. Of course, I don't know whether mothers experience varieties of children in modern age or not. Sometimes they have only one or two children. There are not so many varieties. But if you see in older times, they used to have 8, 10 children. Not all 10 children are same. One child is very intelligent, another child is ilbuddu. One child is very smart, another child is little ugly. One child is very, sweet by nature, another child is very harsh. So mother, she she's not ideal mother. She should not favor one child and consider other child to be like not favorite, hate other child. For her, all children are same. So if a mother is asked which child you love the most, she'll say, I love all the children equally. She is not particular favors one child, and although she may punish a naughty child and she may give little kind of encouragement to a obedient child. But in her disposition towards children, she loves all the children equally. Same way, Prabhupada says that Supreme Father or Mother. So Krishna is Supreme Father also and Mother also. Like Lord Vittal is called Vithoba, means his father. Vithu Mauli, his mother also. Tomeva Mata, Pita Tomeva. Krishna is father also and mother also, both. He is also neutral to all living entities. He is neither, he equally loves all living entities. He doesn't hate living entity who is in the worm and the stool. Neither he loves Brahma so much. But the living entity who reciprocates with him in a love, Lord also reciprocates. So that way also is neutral. It's not that, he says, although you are reciprocating, I will not reciprocate with. So whatever way you reciprocate, I will also reciprocate with. So this is basically, neither super soul is so disgusted with any living entity that he leaves him. Hey, jao, I don't want. I want to go get lost. He never says like that to any living entity. So that way, how we can see that the Supreme Lord is the most friendly companion. So samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshasti no priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mai teteshu chapya. This verse will come ahead. This is the explanation of some kind of reference Prabhupada is giving to this verse also. So similarly, just like Lord is impartially situated in all the living entities, at the same time, all living entities are also situated in the Lord. How? They are situated in the energy of the Lord. So, everywhere is the energy of the Lord. Everything and every whole creation is manifested through energy of the Lord. And all living entities are within that energy. Nobody is outside the reach of the energy of the Lord. So Prabhupada says the living entity, although part of the superior energy, so he is ultimately his energy. It's not that, he is outside the purview of the energy of the Lord. So that's how all living entities are within the Lord also. He is also conditioned by inferior energy. So living entity is a superior energy. Why superior energy? Because he can control external energy. That's why he's superior. At the same time, he's conditioned by inferior energy. But nonetheless, he's always within the energy of the Lord. So one way or other, either inferior energy one is situated in, or superior energy. One can take shelter of internal potency or external potency, but he has to be within the energy of the Lord. So this vision, yogi gets equal vision because Prabhupada says he sees that all living entities, although in different situations, according to the results of duty work, in all circumstances remain the servants of God. While in the material energy, the living entity serves the material senses, while in the spiritual energy, he serves the Supreme Lord directly. In either case, the living entity is servant of God. So this is the vision of Uttamadhikari. What Uttamadhikari says that although different living entities may be in different situations based on their karmic activity. Based on the karma of living entity, somebody is put in a rich situation, somebody is in a poor situation. Somebody is in a very peaceful life situation, somebody is in an extremely strugglesome situation. So these are all based on living entities, different karmas. But what a self-realized yogi, or we can say even Uttamadhikari, he sees beyond their material covering, gross and subtle material coverings. Beyond that, he sees that every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. And in this way, uh, if he sees that a living entity, he has utilized his free will very nicely, so that living entity has engaged into the service of the Lord, and the living entity who has misutilized his free will, he is controlled by material energy and he is forced to serve material energy. But in either case, he is the servant of Lord. This is the vision of a self-realized soul. So basically, he sees super soul in the body of all living entities. He also sees all living beings within the super soul. So this is not just an intellectual adjustment. Sometimes, a person may question that whatever we are talking about, is it an intellectual adjustment or mental imagination, or is it a fact? So this type of doubt arises because we are not fully self-realized yet. But the person, the yogi who is fully self-realized, he doesn't have only intellectual conviction or theoretical understanding, or just a kind of doubt also whether this is true or not. But he has got actual vision of this. He can see. So have you seen that one picture, wherein one yogi is, or a kind of devotee only shown, but he's seeing it. So there are different types of spaces are there. He sees Paramatma present in everybody's heart. There is one picture like that. So that is his actual vision. It's not that there is some kind of only intellectual adjustment. So now, what is the benefit of such a vision? That is discussed in verse number 30. So please recite 30th verse.
Just Prue, want to read?
Yes.
Yes.
यो मां पश्यन्ति सर्वत्र
यो मां पश्यति सर्वत्र
सर्वं च मयि पश्यति
सर्वं च मयि पश्यति
तस्याहं न प्रणश्यामि
तस्याहं न प्रणश्यामि
स च मे न प्रणश्यति
स च मे न प्रणश्यति.
मे
Translation. Translation. Ashish Bro.
I think there is some internet issue at
and
his
she's
side. Ashish Prue, not able to hear you.
now
Yes, now yes.
now
Yes,
so
yes.
for
Go ahead,
one
go
who
ahead.
sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me.
Yes. So this is the wonderful vision of a perfected yogi. He sees Krishna everywhere, and he sees Krishna. Everything is in Krishna. For such a person, Krishna is never lost, nor will he ever lost to Krishna. That means he is very intimately connected with Krishna. So that's why there are levels of visions. There is bhautik vision, wherein we see everything in a material manner. But there is a vision of knowledge, wherein one is understand the things through proper shastra, that is called shastra chakshu. Through proper understanding, that is the vision of knowledge or understanding. But somebody who has got the vision of love, he can actually see Krishna's presence everywhere. So this is the realization of a perfected personality, that he sees Krishna is present everywhere. The topmost amongst all such personalities is Srimati Radharani, who could see Krishna everywhere, any place, every place. She can just see Krishna's presence everywhere. That's what is Srimati Radharani. So this is one kind of hint, or kind of, small reference to the vision of Srimati Radharani in Bhagavad Gita. What is her consciousness? She sees Krishna everywhere. Anything and everything that reminds her of Krishna. That is her highest platform. Okay, so please read the purport. Ashish Pro, read the purport. Anyways, I'll only read. A person in Krishna consciousness certainly sees Lord Krishna everywhere and he sees everything in Krishna. Such a person may appear to see all separate manifestations of material nature, but in each and every instance, he is conscious of Krishna, knowing that everything is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. So although he may see one wood, something, some table, some wall, some person, but he sees everywhere there is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. So he sees that, all this wood is made up of earth element, which is Bhumi. Then Apa, he sees any water, he says, oh, it is all Krishna's energy. So that vision, Krishna will explain, how to begin that vision. Krishna will explain in the eighth chapter, wherein he tells that one should see, Rasoham apsu kaunteya. When one drinks water, understand that the taste of water is Krishna. Because in the beginning, to see Krishna everywhere is difficult. So how do we practice it? By remembering Krishna at least specific instances with this, So whenever we see sunlight, we see Prabhasmi Shashi Suryo Rasoham apsu kaunteya. Shabdakhe, Paurusham Nushu. Through that, one starts practicing to see Krishna everywhere. And at perfected stage, then one can actually see also Krishna. So anything one says, oh, this is Krishna's, this is Krishna, this is Krishna's. So one place Prabhupada used to tell that how do you see Krishna everywhere? Prabhupada used to say, just like if you see that my specs are lying on a table. So Prabhupada used to say that as soon as you see my specs, what do you see? These are Prabhupada's specs. So immediately you become conscious of your Guru. You become conscious of Prabhupada because you remember these are Prabhupada's specs. Similarly, if you see there are shoes of Prabhupada, immediately one remembers Prabhupada. These are Prabhupada's shoes. Same way, anything and everything one sees, one understands this is Krishna's, this is Krishna's, this is Krishna, this is Krishna, this is Krishna's. And in this way, one is able to see Krishna everywhere present.
Not really actually seeing Krishna.
No, but that's sort of, it's not now at this stage, see, one thing is that one may say these are Prabhupadas, but remembrance of Prabhupada and Prabhupada is not different because they are absolute personalities. It is, if you see somebody on a material platform, when you see his items, then also you remember him. But that's not an absolute personality. So that is only a remembrance kind of thing. But when we see Krishna something, there is no difference between Krishna and his remembrance. So we are directly seeing Krishna also, presence of Krishna in that. Because Krishna is absolute. So there is no difference between remembering him or being in his personal presence or seeing him personally. That's what is our basic philosophy. There is no difference between chanting and Krishna. Holy names and Krishna, there is no difference. Similarly, when we remember Krishna directly, we are in association with Krishna. Only thing that realization is, yet to come. But that's what. So nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the development of love of Krishna, a position transcendental even to material liberation. So material liberation means to understand this material world is a source of problems. So one becomes free from all material attachments. But to see a vision of Krishna everywhere is even beyond this so-called this kind of liberation. So at this stage of Krishna consciousness, so Krishna consciousness is beyond even self-realization, realizing oneself as spirit soul. A devotee becomes one with Krishna. How he becomes one with Krishna? In the sense that Krishna becomes everything for the devotee becomes full in loving Krishna. Merge in with Krishna does not mean that becoming one with Krishna doesn't mean that one becomes homogeneous with Krishna. Immediately impersonation. Yes, yes, yes. See, he becomes one with Krishna. One with Krishna doesn't mean he merges into Krishna. Not that. One in terms of uh, Krishna becomes everything for the devotee, and devotee becomes. So basically, in Ishopanishad, Prabhupada says becoming one means becoming one in interest with Krishna. When we say that we all students are one, means what? We all have same interest. Similarly, a devotee becomes one in interest of Krishna. He doesn't have any separate interest. That doesn't mean that he doesn't have any separate individual identity. He does retain his separate individual identity, but he becomes one in interest with Krishna. And that's why he says that one becomes one with Krishna. On the other hand, if one thinks that that means he merges into Krishna, that is spiritual annihilation. So, which is not, it is a risky thing. Prabhupada says a devotee never takes such a risk. Like that. And then further Prabhupada quotes, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Somebody's eyes. So, just like there is a kajal. So, kajal is, I don't know whether it gives a different vision or not, but there is an ointment which is called love of God. So, those whose eyes are smeared with that ointment of love, they can see Krishna always. Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. They can always see Krishna in their heart. So at this stage, Lord Krishna never disappears from the sight of devotee, nor does the devotee ever lose sight of the Lord. So they are always intimately united. So this is so wonderful actually. This phenomenon of always being able to be in presence of Krishna is the highest stage of perfection. So same applies to the yogi who sees Lord as Paramatma within the heart. Such a yogi turns into a pure devotee and cannot bear to live for a moment without seeing the Lord within himself. He cannot tolerate to see, he cannot tolerate not seeing the Lord. That was the situation of Narada boy, right? He saw Krishna, Paramatma for some time, and then suddenly that vision disappeared. And he became so perturbed that he could not see, Lord within himself. That was very difficult, very, very disturbing situation for him. And he was again and again trying to see the Lord. But then Lord told him that in this life you cannot see me now. So you continue your sadhana. Once after this life, you will be constantly in my presence. So now Narad Muni is constantly in the presence of the Lord doesn't mean that he's always physically with the Lord. It's not his. So if you read that section of Narada boy, he says that after he got this body of a Narada, he became a Narad Muni. He was born from Brahmaji. He is always, that Veena was gifted to him by Lord Narayan. And then on his Veena, he always is singing the glories of the Lord. And Narada Muni says that when he sings the glories of the Lord, Lord always appears within the lotus of his heart. And in this way, he's always with the Lord. May not be physically, but through, that's what, again, the same point. Glorification of the Lord and Lord is not different. Remembrance of the Lord in Lord is not. And that's how he's always with the Lord. He's never separated from the Lord. So that's what factually we understand. Srila Vishwanath Thakur, he explains Krishna's words in further manner. When a yogi is constantly realizing me directly with his senses, he is my worshipper and never falls down. Yeah. Now, next verse, Krishna directly describes the super soul realization as worshipful service to him. So if a yogi has a proper knowledge, then he learns to worship the super soul. So 31st verse, please recite.
Niruddha Prabhu. Okay. Aradhan Prabhu. Okay. Arjun Sarthi Prabhu.
सर्वभूतस्थितं यो मां
सर्वभूतस्थितं यो मां
भजते एकत्वमस्थिता
भजति एकत्वमास्थितः
सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि
सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि
स योगी मयि वर्तते.
स योगी मयि वर्तते.
Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Super Soul, knowing that I and the Super Soul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances.
Yes. So this verse describes the actions of a perfect yogi. He worships Supreme Lord as one. So please read purport.
A yogi who is practicing meditation on the Super Soul sees within himself the plenary portion of Krishna as Vishnu, with 4 hands holding conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower. The yogi should know that Vishnu is non-different from Krishna. Krishna in this form of Super Soul is situated in everyone's heart. Furthermore, there is no difference between the innumerable Super Souls present in the innumerable hearts of living entities. Nor is there a difference between a Krishna conscious person always engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna and a perfect yogi engaged in meditation on the Super Soul.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. So once, I believe it was Yadurani Mataji, she wanted to paint picture of Paramatma. So she asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, can you describe me how Paramatma looks like? Prabhupada say, oh, you are asking such a difficult thing. So many yogis and jnanis, they meditate on Paramatma feature of the Lord. But that vision, they get it after long years of practice, sometimes lifetimes of practice. And you want to know so quickly? And she said to Prabhupada, she was also very quick-witted. She said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you are pure devotee. So you can tell how he looks like. Prabhupada said, okay. He closed his eyes and described the features of Paramatma, and she was painting accordingly. So we have the painting of Paramatma, right? Second canto of Bhagavatam. So that is Prabhupada's vision directly came into painting. So here it is, Prabhupada also in the purport tells that he gets a vision that how he's a plenary portion of Vishnu having Shankha Chakra Gada Padma holding. So is he sitting or standing? So Prabhupada told he's standing, not sitting. Although Ishvara Sarvabhuta Ruddesha Arjuna Tishtati. Tishtati sometimes may mean sitting also, but he's standing like that. And then again, he is not different from Krishna. It is Krishna's expansion only. Paramatma is Krishna's expansion only. Now, one thing Prabhupada tells is that there is no difference between your super soul and my super soul. Although you have your personal super soul, but at the same time, he is the same person. He is same person manifested in different hearts. Elsewhere, I believe it is in Bhagavatam, Prabhupada gives analogy, just like in the moonlit night, if you keep lot of pots filled with water, the same moon is reflected in different pots. So it is same moon, but it is reflected in different pots. Same way, same super soul, Supreme Lord is present in everybody's heart as Paramatma. So there is no difference between your Paramatma and my Paramatma. Although Paramatma is our Paramatma, still there is no difference. They are same. And then Prabhupada says, such a yogi who is realizing Paramatma and who is fully conscious of Paramatma and a Krishna conscious person, there is no difference. So they are same only. Okay. Then further Prabhupada quotes various quotations from Rupa Goswami. And such a person is called as Jivan Mukta, and then Narada Pancharatra. So like that. And similarly, Smriti Shastras, same thing is confirmed in various Shastras. Like that. Prabhupada quotes that in various ways. Yeah. So in this way, by his proper worship, the yogi understands the actual situation of the soul in the material world. So now the next verse, Krishna is going to describe that thing. Please recite 32nd verse.
Ashutosh Pradhan Prabhu.
Yes, brother. आत्मोपमेन सर्वत्र
आत्मोप्यमेन सर्वत्र
समं पश्यति यो अर्जुन
समं पश्यति यो अर्जुन
सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं
सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं
स योगी परमो मतः.
स योगी परमो मतः.
Translation: He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress. O Arjuna.
Yes. So basically he sees all beings equally. Please read purport.
One who is Krishna conscious is a perfect yogi. He is aware of everyone's happiness and distress by dint of his own personal experience. The cause of the distress of a living entity is forgetfulness of his relationship with God, and the cause of happiness is knowing Krishna to be the supreme enjoyer of all activities of the human being, the proprietor of all lands and planets, and the sincerest friend of all living entities.
Yeah,
The perfect yogi.
That's it. That's it. So now, when he says that he sees the equality of all beings, that doesn't support the philosophy that there are two wrong philosophies come up with this. When we say equality of all beings, there are two wrong philosophies come with this. One wrong philosophy is you are me and I am you. You know this, some people have this. You are me, I am you. We are a one only. We both are one. So they try to destroy the individuality of living. So one devotee, he was distributing books, and he said, so the one person, he met him, and he said, why are you distributing books like this? You and me are one. You are me, I am you. We both are one only. The devotee said, oh, all right. Is it like that? And he tried to give, first of all, some philosophical explanation. He was not ready to listen. He said, no, you are me, I am you. We both are one only. He said, the devotee said, okay, is it like that? Then give me your pocket. Because this is my pocket now. I am you, you are me, I am you. So this is my pocket. Give me. And he was so egoistic that he actually gave a pocket also. And devotee said, thank you very much. Then he ran behind the devotee. अरे मुझे जाने के लिए थोड़ा पैसा दे दो. Train पकड़ना है. This was in foreign country. I had to catch a train. Give me some money. Like that, at least to go home. So this is like trying to destroy the individuality of a living entity only by saying that you are me, I am you. No. So we are individuals. As a spirit soul also, even as a pure spirit soul, we are always individuals. We are not exactly one. Another wrong philosophy comes is that person tries to make equality on a material level. Here the equality is not mentioned on a material level. Equality is on the spiritual level. So then that's how these problems of man-woman equality and communist type of philosophies come, that we are all equal. How we are all equal? Our heights are different, our face cut is different. Prabhupada used to say, how can you say man and woman are equal? Can man become pregnant? Never. He said, how can man and woman are equal? So, woman has got periods, monthly periods. Can a man get it? So they're not equal. Material equality is a myth. There is you cannot make it artificially material equality. Everybody's intelligence level is different. Everybody's face is different. Color is different. And even on a subtle material platform, the sanskaras, vrittis, tendencies, the inclinations, they're all different. So material equality is simply a foolishness. It's an imaginative idea. So when we say equality of the soul, means what? We are all of the same quality. We are all Satchidananda. Not that one soul is not Satchidananda, another soul is Satchidananda. It's not like all are Satchidananda. That way there is equality. All are servants of Krishna. In that way there is equality. So this is the true equality, not artificial equality of material life, or neither destroying the individuality. So we are all individual. So somebody may be tree in the spiritual world, somebody may be gopa, somebody may be a deer or cow, but they are all one. One how? They are all eternally servants of Krishna, serving Krishna in a spiritual form. That way they are equal. But not that there is no individuality amongst them. Like that. Now, one more thing, Prabhupada, so this is what Prabhupada is focusing on, is that he sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and distress. So what is that? He is aware of everyone's happiness and distress by the dint of his personal experience. So he understands, how do I feel when I get this type of situation? And in this way, he becomes, he understands, things about others. That's how Chanakya Pandit also says, Atmavat Sarva Bhuteshu. Pandita means Atmavat Sarva Bhuteshu. Means what? He treats others the way he wants to be treated. And he understands other because by his personal experience, he understands, somebody, calls me that you are a useless fool. How will I feel? It will be so depressing for me. So he doesn't tell others that you are a useless fool. He doesn't becomes very harsh with others. Similarly, if somebody tells, आपका क्या आप ऐसी है, so if he understands that if somebody pinches me, I feel pain, so he doesn't pinch others. So he understands that अगर मेरा थोड़ा सा उंगली कट गया तो मुझे इतना दुख होता है, how can I cut the neck of any animal? So by his personal experience, he can understand, he is aware of happiness and distress. And in this way, he also understands, so he also, not only this is on the material platform, but in the spiritual platform, he understands the root cause of all distress of all living entities is forgetfulness of Krishna. And if they have to be actually happy, they should be connected with Krishna, who is supreme enjoyer of all activities. So Prabhupada quotes basically this, Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Surudam Sarvabhutara. Now, Prabhupada goes further ahead and says that because one in Krishna consciousness is happy, what he does also, he tries to distribute that knowledge of Krishna everywhere. Since the perfect yogi tries to broadcast the importance of becoming Krishna conscious, he is the best philanthropist in the world. He is the dearest servitor of the Lord. And that's why he is the dearest servitor of the Lord. So he is not simply happy by being practicing himself. Prayena deva munayo somukti kaman maunam charanti nijanena parartha nishtha naitan vihaya krupanan vimumoksha eko namnyastudasya sharanam brahmato nupashye. Who says this?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes, Prahlad Maharaj. He says that yes, indeed, there are some yogis and munis who are interested in their own salvation and they want to be happy and satisfied by own perfection of life. But he says that I don't want to be like them. I am concerned with others who are staying in various cities and are engaged into material activities. So I want to preach to them and try to bring them to the platform of real happiness. So that's how he doesn't remain happy himself only in serving Krishna or meditating on Krishna, but he wants to try to distribute that happiness through preaching. He engages in preaching. And in this way, he becomes very dear to Krishna. Nacha tasman manusheshu, Prabhupada is quoting, Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priyakruttama. So such a person is more dear to Krishna than anybody else who tries to distribute Krishna consciousness. Not only self-bhakti. अपना अपना भक्ति करो बस, बाकी दूसरों को let others go to hell. I don't care for others. This mentality is not the mentality of the actual devotee, and this is not the mood of Prabhupada also. Prabhupada never wanted devotees to be like this. Prabhupada wanted devotees to try, help, assist in the mission of delivering the others from their miserable situation. Because a yogi, he cannot remain peaceful, because when he sees that I am enjoying so much of happiness by practice of bhakti or whatever yoga, that means others also should get that happiness. Otherwise, he's selfish or self-centered. But he tries to give this happiness to others also. And that's why he's the greatest social welfare worker. Philanthropist means social welfare worker. Why? Because he's giving them the eternal happiness, ultimate happiness. So one social welfare worker may give food, but that food is only a temporary benefit, which is okay, all right. Somebody may give clothes, free medicines, all these things. But the devotee is highest social welfare worker because he knows the root of his sufferings. The root of his sufferings is forgetfulness of the Lord. And that's why he tries to bring him in connection with the Lord. So yogi himself is connected with the Lord, but he is not only himself connected with the Lord, he tries to connect others to the Lord. And in this way, when the others are also connected with the Lord, they'll also be happy. With this conviction, he is always engaged into welfare work by distributing Krishna consciousness. So such yogi is the best yogi, because he does not desire perfection in yoga for his personal benefit, but tries for others also. That is the best yogi. Also, he does not envy his fellow living entities. Means what? Envy fellow living entities means, neither he says that he puts others into distress by his violent activities and violent words. So that is envy. What is envy? Basically, violent words, violent activities. Being very harsh and cruel with others in one's actions and words. So he does not do that, nor he just unconcerned about others' distress. अरे दूसरे लोगों को सफरिंग हो रहा है, होने दो, मुझे क्या करना है. So day before yesterday, Holiness Sanath Maharaj, he was telling in Pune, our temple, Pune temple, that we should pray for the people who are in the war. Now one may think, उनका problem चल रहा है, मुझे क्या लेना देना. No, that is not the idea of a devotee. What is his idea? Now he feels, so these devotees over there or other living entities also in general over there, they must be suffering so badly because in war zone. Now what he can do? Now as a devotee sitting here, probably we can't do anything, but we can surely pray to Krishna for them. In this way, one should not remain just, युद्धस्य वार्ता रम्या. It is a Sanskrit saying. युद्ध की वार्ता बहुत ही रोचक रहती है. It is very nice, thrilling for the mind. But one should not be in the sadistic zone and let them suffer. And I enjoy their sufferings. One should feel compassion and one should feel concern. So that's what is. So those whom he can really give Krishna consciousness directly, he should try to give Krishna consciousness by preaching, through book distribution, through college preaching, youth preaching, congregation preaching, through children preaching, through Harinam Sankirtan, through prasadam distribution. Through this, he should try to give them Krishna consciousness. If not, they are out of his reach, then he should at least pray for them to the Lord. He should not be unconcerned about them, and in this way, not remain envious. Okay. So, in 5th chapter, 18th verse, Krishna spoke of Pandita's equal vision towards all living entities. That vision, Krishna explained, could be realized through the practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga, of super soul realization. Now, same vision is explained for a Ashtanga Yogi now, or Dhyana Yogi. So, Nishkama Karma Yogi also gets same vision, Pandita Samadarshina vision. Now, here we see that Dhyana Yogi is also getting same vision. So, such a yogi also sees how living entities suffer and are bewildered under the laws of karma. Therefore, his activities match his vision. Not only he has a vision, his activities also match with vision. It's not that he only keeps on talking theoretically. Yeah, everybody's suffering. बेचारे कितना दुख हो रहा है. No, do something for it, practical. move your hands and legs and your mouth, for doing something for living entities. Don't just remain idle, sitting discussing about the sufferings of other people. Poor fellows here, poor fellows there. And do something practical for them. So his activities match his vision. Knowing from his own experience the distress resulting from material activities, he never acts in a way that brings distress to others. He knows when somebody speaks very harshly and very hardly to me, then I also feel very much pain. So he does not do so for others. He understands when I trouble others, when I get somebody troubles me, I feel so much pain. So he does not trouble others like that. So in this way, furthermore, but he is engaged in the welfare work for others also on a spiritual platform. Like that. So now all these things Krishna spoke. But after this, Arjun realized that Krishna is speaking in a very high terms. So Arjun felt that such equal vision cannot be long lasting. One can maintain such equal vision for friends or neutral persons, but for enemies it is so difficult to maintain, isn't it? जो friends है उनके लिए equal vision ठीक है, neutral person के लिए भी ठीक है, जो enemy है उनके लिए equal vision बहुत difficult है. So that's how now Arjun speaks to Krishna that the practice of Ashtanga Yoga in general is very difficult. So that is coming in 33rd verse. Please recite 33rd verse.
Asim Prabha Prabhu.
Verse number
33.
Arjuna Vacha Yoyam Yogastvaya Prokta
Yoyam yogastvaya prokta
Tamyena Madhusudana
Samlena Madhusudana
Etasyaham na pasyami
Etasyaham na pashyami
Chanchalatvat Sthitam Sthiram.
Chanchalatva Sthitim Sthiram.
Translation. Arjuna said, O Madhusudan, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady.
Yes, so this starts the next section. Here, the section of the stages of Ashtanga Yoga practice end, and the next section from the 33 to 36 verse begins the necessity of controlling the mind. So, in these two verses, this verse and next verse, Arjuna is showing concern that Ashtanga Yoga is impractical due to reason is because of fickle mind. So, because mind is very restless and unsteady. Please read purport. Asim Prabha Prabhu, please read purport.
I think he's away, Prabhuji. I'll read Prabhuji for you. Purport. The system of mysticism described by Lord Krishna to Arjun, beginning with the word Suchau Deshe and ending with Yogi Paramaha, is here being rejected by Arjun out of feeling of inability. It is not possible for an ordinary man to leave home and go to a secluded place in the mountains or jungles to practice yoga in this age of Kali. The present age is characterized by a bitter struggle for a life of short duration. People are not serious about self-realization even by simple practical means. And what to speak of this difficult yoga system, which regulates the mode of living, the manner of sitting, selection of a place, and detachment of the mind from material engagements. As a practical man, Arjuna thought it was impossible to follow the system of yoga, even though he was favorably endowed in many ways. He belonged to the royal family and was highly elevated in terms of numerous qualities. He was a great warrior, he had a great longevity, and above all, he was the most intimate friend of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 5,000 years ago, Arjun had much better facilities than we do now. Yet he refused to accept the system of yoga. In fact, we do not find any record in history of his practicing it any time. Therefore, this system must be considered generally impossible in this age of Kali. Of course, it may be possible for some very few rare men, but for the people in general, it is an impossible proposal. If this were so 5,000 years ago, then what of the present day? Those who are imitating this yoga system in different so called schools and societies, although complacent, are certainly wasting their time. They are completely in ignorance of the desired goal.
Yes. So, whatever till now Krishna described to Arjun, Arjun feels it to be impractical. Although Arjun had what all qualifications?
Great warrior.
He was a great warrior.
And all the facilities like more superior facilities.
Okay, he had a superior facilities. What else?
Ignorance is a good
Uh-huh.
longevity.
Okay, who have Gudakesha? Then
Sense control also.
he was sense controlled.
Focus.
Personally guided by Krishna. He was personally guided by Krishna.
Yeah, personally guided by Krishna.
Non-envious.
He was non-envious. He was even able to control the wind also, he said. Yes. So
Best
that is-
archer.
Next verse can I go? Huh? What else?
Best archer.
He was best archer. So Prabhupada has written in this purport, he belonged to royal family, highly elevated in terms of numerous qualities. He was a great warrior. He had great longevity. He lived for many, many years. Most intimate friend of Krishna. So he had much better facilities. Despite all this thing, Arjuna, he felt that this Ashtanga Dhyana Yoga system is impractical. So Prabhupada says that we never see Arjun sitting and meditating and practicing this Ashtanga Yoga system. So that's why Prabhupada says, if for person who Arjun was in Dwapar Yuga and had so much of favorable facilities, if it was impossible for Arjun, then what we can talk about the people in Kali Yuga? Maybe few people can practice. Maybe there are still few yogis who can go, but for a general populace, it is not practical and possible. So in the beginning, Prabhupada says that in Kali Yuga, for ordinary man to leave home and go to a secluded place in the mountains and jungle is very difficult. How many can do it actually? That they can leave home. First of all, leaving home itself is difficult. And then leave home and go, not in a better 5-star brahmachari ashram. Go to forest. That is more difficult, isn't it? And stay in the Himalayas. If you just go to Himalayas, अच्छा देखने के लिए अच्छा दिखता है वो, बहुत सीनरी बहुत सुंदर दिखता है हिमालय का, और उधर जाके रहो तो पता चलेगा. Like you go to Lonavala also. Lonavala is so nearby. In the train through bus, it looks so beautiful, so nice. Okay, आपको उधर लगते 2 दिन रहो उधर ये जंगल में. Mountain बहुत सुंदर दिख रहा है. Monkey hill looks so beautiful, right? You go and sit on that monkey hill. You'll realize, my God, 2 दिन के बाद, we'll say, नहीं Baba, I want some bed to take rest. I want some nice prasad to eat, isn't it? So it's so tough, to go to some forest or something like that. So वो भी दिन में भी ठीक है, रात में तो how much one will be afraid in the forest by where to go, what to do. There is no electricity there. In this way, it is first of all so difficult to leave home and go to a secluded place like this. Also, there is a bitter struggle for a life of short duration. Life is itself short duration, and in that short duration also there are bitter struggles. Job नहीं है, exam में pass नहीं हो रहा है, उसको कोरोना आ गया, इधर फ्लड आ गया, इधर युद्ध चालू हो गया, कितना स्ट्रगल, so many different struggles are there. There is always some cause of disturbance, relationships within the family, relationships with the friends, Now, apart from this, Prabhupada says third disqualification of Kali Yuga people are, they are not serious also about self-realization even by simple practical means. उनको भक्ति देते इतना simple means of bhakti is there, that also they don't want to take, isn't it? All of you must have experience of preaching. You know, क्या बोल रहे उनको जपा करो बोल रहे. Is it such a tough task to chanting, or is it such a tough task to take prasadam or to dance? These are all pleasurable activities, enjoyable activities, render devotional service. But even this simple method of bhakti, they don't want to accept. What do because such rigid practices, in terms of sit like this only and meditate on the tip of the nose, and then do all these kind of things. So, what is because such things which regulate the mode of living? किधर रहना है, कैसा बैठना है. So, अपना chanting process is तत्रार्पिता नियमित स्मरणेन कालः. उसके लिए इतना टाइम प्लेस सर्कमस्टेंसेस का इतना बंधन नहीं है, फिर भी लोग नहीं लेना चाहते. Whereas what to speak of this type of process, wherein there is a selection of place also, there is a manner of sitting, there is a manner of meditating, detachment from all material engagements from mind, isn't it? So these are all very tough. And that's why we see from the beginning of the chapter itself, Prabhupada gives bhakti equivalent to all these things. Prabhupada speaks more about bhakti only. So one way in the beginning, one may think है क्या है, ऐसा कहा वर्ष में कृष्णा ने बोला है, कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस कहाँ लिखा है कृष्णा. But Prabhupada keeps this verse in the mind and tells that these all things are quite impractical. They are possible in the previous ages, especially in Kali Yuga now. These are not possible. Kali Yuga, maybe there are few souls who can do it, but it is not practical for a common man. Okay, so in this way, can Arjun maintain equal vision on the battlefield of Kurukshetra? One with such equal vision, he observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me and sees everywhere and everything in me. Can Arjuna really see Maharaj Yudhishthira and Duryodhana equally? Can he see both of them equally, Duryodhana and Yudhishthira? Arjun presents his doubts to Krishna, frankly telling him that for him such vision is impossible. Could Arjun, by the strength of his intelligence, see both his friends and enemy equally and simultaneously carry out his duty of fighting? If you are fighting on the battlefield, a Kaura party, you have to see him as enemy. Otherwise, how will you kill him? If you say both are equal only, so how is it possible? Krishna is telling you should do your duty also, but you see all of them equally also. so it is difficult, right? If you say Yudhishthira and Duryodhana are same only for him, then how you'll kill Duryodhana and fight for Yudhishthira, isn't it? So in this way, Arjun is pointing out to maintain such an outlook is so problematic. So now 34th verse, Arjun is going to speak a very famous verse. Please recite 34th verse.
Avinash Prabhu.
चंचलम ही मना कृष्ण
Chanchalam hi mana Krishna
प्रमाति बलवदृढ़म्
प्रमाथि बलवदृढम्
तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये
तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये
वायुरिव सुदुष्करम्.
वायुरिव सुदुष्करम्.
Translation: For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the mind.
Yes. So this is very famous verse for memorization also. So here there are various adjectives of the mind are discussed. How mind is chanchalam, flickering. Then pramathi. Pramathi means agitating. Balavat, strong. Drudam, obstinate. Like that. So in this way, to control such a mind is very difficult. This is. Please read purport.
The mind is so strong and obstinate that it sometimes overcomes the intelligence. Although the mind is supposed to be subservient to the intelligence. For man in the practical world who has to fight so many opposing elements, it is certainly very difficult to control the mind. Artificially, one may establish a mental equilibrium toward both friend and enemy, but ultimately, no worldly man can do so, for this is more difficult than controlling the raging wind.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. So Prabhupada further is quoting Katha Upanishad and all, that this body and car analogy, driver, chariot and body analogy जो है, you all know that, right? Five senses are like five horses, and the intelligence is like driver, the ropes are like mind, passenger is the soul, body is the chariot itself, like that. In this way, intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind, who is sometimes is so strong, if the intelligence is weakened, then it even overcomes intelligence. Prabhupada is giving example. Sometimes one may get vaccine, but the infection may be so acute that it may overcome the efficacy of even the medicine also. Sometimes when they get vaccine or some medicine, sometimes the infection is so acute that it can overcome. Usually the medicine or a vaccine is supposed to prevent the disease, but sometimes the disease is so powerful that it overcomes the efficacy. Or some another way we can say, even the immunity system, sometimes it overcomes even the immunity system. Immunity system is supposed to fight off the disease and give us the protection. Sometimes the disease comes and it breaks through our immunity system also. Same way, although the intelligence is in the hierarchy more powerful than the mind, but if the intelligence is weakened, then the mind can overtake intelligence also. And Prabhupada says the similarly used here is very appropriate. One cannot capture the blowing wind, but to capture a turbulent mind is more difficult than capturing the blowing wind also. So, but Prabhupada gives a solution. Solution is, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu suggested, solution is chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Mantra Manastrayati iti mantra, which delivers the mind. So such a raging mind can be controlled through chanting of the holy names, because we don't control it. We take shelter of Krishna through chanting, and it is Krishna who can control. Yes, it is impossible for us to control. That's a fact. We cannot control it. We cannot control our mind. But when we engage the mind in Krishna's service, then it becomes control by grace of Krishna. Again, you see Prabhupada is quoting Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindo. Kitne baar Prabhupada is quoting in this chapter Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindo shloka, isn't it? So that's how mind has to be engaged in the service of the Lord. So His Grace Adesham Prabhu was telling once that here the word Pramathi is used for the mind. So Pramathi also points out to elephant. The mind is compared to an elephant, not to lion or tiger. Pramathi is generally word used for mad elephant. Is not compared to lion or tiger, because originally the elephant is in the mode of passion. Elephant is very fond of passionate activities. So now, such elephant, if he becomes mad, then this elephant can go to degrade mode of ignorance and can become very destructible. But the same elephant, he can create so much of havoc. Or the same elephant, he can be tamed and can become a very good elephant who can do lot of work for the man, right? Sometimes they carry the log of woods and all. So many good things they can do. So that way, the elephant can be tamed to and brought to the platform of goodness. So originally, elephant is in the mode of passion. It can degrade to ignorance or can be tamed and brought to mode of goodness and can become a very peaceful personality. You have seen in Srirangam how that elephant gives blessings to everybody. Right? Very peaceful. Nobody is afraid of such an elephant, isn't it? But it can become so mad also. There are videos about how mad elephant can destroy. So same way, why mind is compared to elephant? Because mind, same way, is originally in the mode of passion, and that's why he's very chanchal. He's never steady at one place. But the mind, if he is not paid attention, it can degrade to the mode of ignorance, and the mind can instigate a person to do destructive activities, killing, murdering, raping, destroying, envying others. So it can degrade to the low mode of ignorance. Or the mind, when it's tamed properly, it can be uplifted to the mode of goodness. That same mind can engage you in meditation, in chanting, in devotional service, welfare for others. So in this way, mind and can be tamed and brought to mode of goodness also. Yeah, that's why word pramathi is used. Generally, lions and tigers cannot be brought to mode of goodness. Like that. So word is compared to be like elephant. Srila Vishwanath Charya Thakur, he comments that the intelligence is sometimes compared to a sharp needle. Even the very sharp needle of the intelligence cannot pierce the strong mind any more than a needle can forcibly pierce an iron. When the mind becomes like an iron, even the intelligence is like a sharp needle, but it cannot pierce the iron like mind. Sometimes mind becomes very strong and intelligence then is helpless. Arjun, however, compares his mind to be to the wind, an unstoppable enemy. It is like an unstoppable enemy. The mind's unrest is also sometimes compared to a chronic disease that won't respond to medicine. So that's how mind is pramathi, always churning, balavat, unbreakable, drudham, obstinate. What is the business of mind? Thinking, feeling, willing. Okay. One more. Sankalpa and vikalpa. Accepting and rejecting. It accepts one thing. Sometimes he rejects the same thing after some time. He has accepted, like you go for shopping sometimes. Mind tells, oh, this is so nice, so nice. Take it, take it. And you bring it home. Then you realize, क्यों लिया ये? कितना बेकार है. Same mind who induced you to take, same mind is cursing you why you took it. Isn't it? So in this way, again he may accept the same thing after some time. So this is how, Arjuna is putting a practical challenge he's facing in his life, that how to control such a mind and engage it, in Ashtanga yoga practice. It is so difficult. So, so in this way, although Krishna may question Arjun, why don't you just control your mind through your intelligence? But Arjun told, this is the nature of mind. The mind is sometimes so strong. So now further then, so Arjun asks, so if the controlling of the mind is so difficult, but if you think it is possible, then tell me the ways I can control my mind. So that's what Arjun is asking. So that will start from 35th verse. Yeah. So 35th verse, Krishna is going to answer the questions, but our time is up. So I had told that I'll complete this chapter, this unit itself by today. Today was our deadline, but I could not meet the deadline. So, and these verses are important also, they cannot be just rushed through. So we will take one more class. So next Thursday, we'll complete this. Next Thursday will be 19th, I think, right? So we'll complete this particular section. Exam is when?
Apruji, we have extended the exam to 29th or 28th October, like next week to when we complete this module.
So mostly next Thursday only we'll try to complete. Now only 10 verses are remaining. So we'll try to complete all the 10 verses by next Thursday. And then you are free to study and write exams. So don't be afraid of exams. You are all engineers. Most of you are engineers. You have written such tough exams in the college. So some devotees are asking me, Prabhuji, exam kaise hoga? These exams are like, nothing for you. Only thoda laziness you have to, अभी क्या है वर्किंग स्टेज में थोड़ा लेजीनेस आता है कभी कभी पढ़ाई करने के लिए, तो वो मत छोड़. डोंट एग्जाम्स आर so easy that you will feel it like a cakewalk. For you it is nothing. So please, study nicely One my experience of studying for such exam is that our own revision happens and some concept become very thoroughly fixed in the mind. So that's why taking out the answers of the questions, although 6 chapters questions are there, but try to take out the answers yourself and try to uh, study them again and again. Then you write an exam. That is very helpful, although little painful in the beginning. फिर से वो exam लिखना पड़ेगा क्या? But it is quite helpful. And also don't miss to write OBAs. They are so nice. Actually, this is how the sadhaka's mind should be contemplating on Shastras. So these OBAs and all also help us to contemplate on the Shastras. And mind should be absorbed with scriptures. Otherwise, the mind will be occupied with all types of only material things. So better, make a habit of absorbing the mind with some scriptural things. Just writing OBA, CBs is good. I am also writing. Of course, there was a break for me now since long time, but I have to again start writing for Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhagavatam. So don't become mentally lazy to do all these things. They are very helpful. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Jai. Jai.
Yeah.
Anybody had any question?
Yeah.
Somebody was raising hand before.
Guruji, in exam, this sloka test will be there. So I have to come to online and told to you.
What? Shloka
In
test
sloka
what?
test, but if you have to come onto the Zoom, I have to told to you sloka. Like
No,
what?
I'll convey, bro. I'll convey all the details. So in fact, Sakshar Chitru is going to join in the next week session for 5-10 minutes, and he'll be explaining all the things regarding the exam. Okay, so will be conveyed to all of you. Okay, dates are already fixed. Like 28th, there will be closed book. 29th deadline is OBA, and in the first week of November, we'll be having Shloka test, and how that will be conducted will be conveyed to you. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Any question anybody had? Or we can stop.
Arjun Sajil Das here.
Yes.
Yogi, in verse 29, Krishna is telling about a yogi who is observing living beings in him and he in every living being. So that is again an observer's view. And in the next verse also, he again talks about here he talks about the things. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost. But both of these are kind of like observers' details. So is there any place where Krishna himself says about it? Like he's present in everything.
Yeah. So it is not his illusory vision, first of all. It is a factual vision yogi has. So Krishna is telling, because Krishna is describing the advancement of a yogi, so that's why he's talking from a yogi point of view. But there are Bhagavatam, if you see, there are so many references, that wherein Krishna tells also that he's present everywhere. Exactly the verses to remember now, recollect the verses is difficult for me now.
Roji 9.4 he says, no, Maya tatam idam sarvam.
Okay, yeah, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina
Matsthani sarvabhutani.
Nateshu
Like 4 and
Charanavastita.
5, fifth verse also he says.
Matsthani sarvabhutani.
Pachami yogamashvaram.
Yeah. So yeah, that way also. That is one reference also. There are many references, but if you read so many places, Krishna is telling that he is present everywhere. Right. All right.
Yes, right.
Okay. Thank you. Haribu.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Yeah, thank you, Guruji.